Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back for day 4 of We Rise Purified Power. Yesterday, we spoke quite a bit about the antidote to the first of the 4 contaminants, an internal atmosphere of friendliness. So, just an invitation to consider where this contaminant might be living inside of you. Animosity both toward entities in the external world, as well as animosity that we are fostering toward parts of ourselves, and how we can address that animosity by creating and sustaining an internal environment of friendliness. Okay? So take a moment to again consider the felt sense experience of animosity. So not just anger, but anger that gets directed at something specifically and that is given the opportunity to fester. Anger can be productive in a positive way when it's channeled in that way. Animosity is not productive. It's not helpful. It becomes like a cancer and it grows increasingly toxic and it eats away at the higher elements of our human spirit. So we want to address it as quickly as possible on a regular basis because it will continue to be sparked and instigated just by nature of the world that we live in and by nature of the functioning of the human mind, which, as we've discussed, is hardwired for survival. So there's that. And in terms of our technique, we're going to start moving in the direction of a very specific pranayama technique that we'll be utilizing. We're not going full force there today, but we'll start to adjust our approach to Nadi Shodhana to move us in that direction. So we'll abbreviate Nadi Shodhana somewhat in terms of going back and forth with the alternate nostril breathing. And then we will shift gears slightly after we go through Samikarana. So we'll come back to this variation of Nadi Shodhana. And when we do, what I'll ask you to do is start with your awareness at Muladhara Chakra, so at the base of the spine or the region of the perineum. And then we'll inhale through one nostril. And for today, we're simply inviting prana and awareness to ascend in a relatively straight line from the perineum up toward Agya Chakra with inhale through one nostril. And then with exhale, we'll release any closure of either nostril. And we'll just exhale effortlessly back down the spine. So inhale is ascending, exhale is descending, which we're familiar with from Samikarana. But with inhale, we'll be breathing in through one nostril, exhale both, the next inhale through the alternate nostril to set the stage for things to come. I think that's all that needs to be front-loaded. Let's go ahead and move into the practice. So find your seat. Also, I just want to say, Gosha, congratulations, you're out of bed. I know it's a big deal to get up early. Well done. Okay. We'll start with the recitation of Gayatri, Mahamrityunjaya, and Vishvadeva. One more breath, and then we'll begin with Om. swaha tatsaviturvarenyam bargo devasya dhimahi dhyo yona prachodayat. Om bhurbhuva swaha tatsaviturvarenyam bargo devasya dhimahi dhyo yona prachodayat. Om bhurbhuva swaha tatsaviturvarenyam bargo devasya dhimahi dhyo yona prachodayat. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityur Mukshiyamamretat. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityur Mukshiyamamretat. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityur Mukshiyamamretat. Om Anupadraha Kritavoyantu Vishvato Dakdaso Aparitasa Utpitaha Devano Yata Sadamid Vrite Asanna Prayavo Rakshitaro Dive Dive. Om Anupadraha Kritavoyantu Vishvato Dakdaso Aparitasa Utpitaha Devano Yata Sadamid Vrite Asanna Prayavo Rakshitaro Dive Dive. Om Anupadraha Kritavoyantu Vishvato Dabdaso Aparitasa Utpitaha Devano Yata Sadamid Prade Asanna Prayavo Rakshitaro Dive Dive. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And our Sankalpa. I resolve to meditate. May this meditation practice infuse my mind with clarity and stability, and my heart with purity, love, and compassion. May the forces of creation, the sages of the tradition, and the enlightened masters, who always seek out those stranded on the path, witness my resolution and shower their blessings for a successful meditation. Make any additional adjustments to your posture that you may wish for. Drop awareness into the space of the belly. Take a moment to reestablish, reconnect to the 5 qualities of healthy breathing, built upon the foundation of diaphragmatic breath. Draw attention to the interior of the nostrils and experience the breath as it flows through the opening of the nostrils upward toward the nasal passages and back down and out again. And draw awareness to Agya Chakra. And allow yourself to find delight in the experience of drawing awareness to Agya Chakra. And preparing for this somewhat abbreviated variation of Nadi Shodhana, create Vishnu Mudra. Enjoy another full breath through both nostrils. And one more inhale through both nostrils. Exhale right. Inhale left. Out right. In left. Out right. In left. Out both nostrils. Release the hand. Effortless breath through both nostrils evenly. Notice if any tension has crept into the belly and release that tension. Vishnu Mudra, inhale both nostrils. Exhale left. In right. Out left. In right. Out left. In right. Out both nostrils. Release the hand. Effortless breath, both nostrils evenly. Awareness draws to Agya Chakra once again. And at Agya Chakra, invite the reunion of prana and awareness. And over the next few breaths, sense them becoming increasingly absorbed in one another. Preparing for Aharana, bring awareness to the forehead center and experience prana in this space, one breath. Eyebrow center. The eyes. Nostrils. Throat center, one breath, perhaps saying the word, the name, the sutta. Shoulders. Upper arms. Elbows. Wrists. Palms of the hands. Fingertips, two breaths. Once again, checking in with the belly and releasing all unnecessary tension or holding. Palms. Wrists. Elbows. Upper arms. Shoulders. Throat center. Visuddha. Heart center. Anahata. Sternum. Navel center. Manipura. Pelvic center. Svadhisthana. perineum, Muladhara, a few breaths. Internally repeating the name of the chakra, Muladhara. On an inhale, ascend to Svadhisthana, pelvic center. Invest a few breaths here, internally repeating Svadhisthana. On an inhale, ascend to the navel center, Manipura. At each chakra, internally repeating the name, in this case, Manipura. Inhale and descend to the sternum, just one breath. Inhale, ascend to the heart center, Anahata. Inhale, ascend to the throat center, Visuddha. Inhale to the nostrils, just one breath. Inhale to the eyes. Eyebrow center. Forehead center. Agya chakra. Remain at Agya chakra. Internally repeating Agya. Inhale, ascend to Sahasrara Chakra, crown center. Remain here, and once again, internally repeat Sahasrara, Sahasrara. Preparing for Samikarana. The first two breaths, two or three, as effortless as they can be, simply descending with exhale and ascending with inhale. And after that, remaining effortless to the best of your ability as prana and awareness pass through the chakras. Internally, name them. Another inhale at Sahasrara, and exhale, begin to descend. Keep it effortless. At Muladhara, inhale and ascend. Once or twice more like that, simply reconnecting to this pranic pathway, slipping into the stream of Sushumna Nadi. Then naming the chakras, I'll do it once. Sahasrara, Agya, Visuddha, Anahata, Manipura, Svadhisthana, Muladhara. Svadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Visuddha, Agya, Sahasrara. Continue on your own at your own pace. Effortless effort. Check the tension levels and dial them down. 2 more breaths in this way, and then return awareness on an exhale to Muladhara and remain at Muladhara for a few breaths. When awareness reaches and rests at Muladhara, once again scan the body for any and all unnecessary tension and holding. Let it go while maintaining spinal integrity. Moving into this variation of Nadi Shodhana, remembering that with inhale we ascend from Muladhara up through each of the chakras. We'll reach Agya and then loop back down to the open nostril with inhale. Then we'll release the nostrils both and exhale through both nostrils with prana and awareness descending once again through Sushumna Nadi back to Muladhara, where we will then switch nostrils for the next breath in. Take a moment to prepare. Keeping the belly soft, minimizing effort. Create Vishnu Mudra. One more full breath. After the exhale, close the right nostril, inhale through the left, ascending all the way to Agya, and then the left nostril. Release the hand, exhale through both, descending back down the way you came. Close the left nostril, inhale right. Exhale both. Inhale left. Exhale both. Inhale right. Exhale both. Now you have a sense of the technique, so feel free to move at your own pace. And as you're inhaling, at least be aware of the presence of the space of Muladhara, Svadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Visuddha, Agya, Agya, Visuddha, Anahata, Manipura, Svadhisthana, Muladhara. Continue. Inhaling through one nostril, exhaling through both. One more round. The final inhale will be through the right nostril. Effortless breath through both nostrils evenly, ascending and descending through Sushumna Nadi. Inhale once again all the way to Sahasrar, and with exhale, descend to Agya. Rest awareness at Agya Chakra. Notice what might be present mentally, energetically. And whatever is present, welcome it. We'll be resting awareness at Agya Chakra for about 5 minutes. If there is a mantra that you wish to introduce, if it feels intuitively compatible, then go right ahead. Bring awareness back to the breath. And begin to experience the breath flowing between Agya Chakra and the point just beyond the opening of the nostrils. Let's bring the hands to the heart center, pressing the palms together and perhaps bowing the head. And remind yourself that we are engaging with a system of purification that takes the route of inclusivity, equity, equanimity, balance, harmony. And also remind yourself of one of the primary tenets of our tradition. Love all, hate none. Embrace all, exclude none. Beginning, importantly, with the various aspects of the self. Feel free to rub the palms together if you wish. Place the palms wherever you'd like, maybe over the eyes for another breath or two. And before we come back out to the world, let's make our offering. Even if you've got your eyes covered, might as well. Due to the current quality of the building blocks of my body, senses, and mind, or due to habits or strong impressions from the past, I may not have attended my meditation in as deep and pristine a manner as my inner being intended. And yet, I pray to the forces governing both my inner and outer worlds to accept the fruits of my practice as a pure and unblemished offering. And then, however you like, start the transition back to the outside world. Okay, let's reach for our journals. Are there any lingering animosities, either toward parts of yourself or entities in the external world, that you are particularly attached to? Is there any animosity that you are particularly attached to, reluctant to release or transform or purify? Any part of yourself or external entity that just deserves your animosity, and so you are clinging to it? Who is that attachment hurting the most? Has it been effective in ensuring that the object of your animosity is getting what they deserve? Either way, at what cost are you clinging to the animosity? At what cost? And is it worth the cost? Is it worth it? Good morning, Tutti. Hi, sweetheart. Mm. And I see a little booty coming in. I see him through the doorway. There he is. Hi, Booty Doo. Poodle. With the world's cutest tail. Okay, so that's all I want to talk about in terms of animosity, and then we'll actually talk about it. But I also want to give you a moment just to write down any questions that you may have around the technique thus far. Any questions you may have. Why are we bothering with the chakras when we're working on purification? How do they correlate to this contemplation about Sutra 133? Is your mind distracted by questions in any way? If so, write them down so we can address them. If you're anything like me, I require a certain degree of intellectual comprehension in order to be able to soften and allow the experience to unfold. So, if you need some intellectual comprehension of what in the world we're about, then let's talk about it. Or if you have any theories, any working theories. Okay. So, first, let's talk about our attachment, our devesha, the attachment we have to our animosity. Is there any attachment that you are not excited about letting go? Anyone that you feel just deserves this anger, whether it's a part of yourself that you're still intent on punishing or something outside of you. expressed in a slightly different way. Is there any experience, any ideology that you cringe around when presented with the concept of cultivating an inner environment of friendliness when you think of them? Definitely a part of yourself you are resentful toward, Gosha. Yeah. Anyone else have anyone that they have animosity toward, that they are reluctant to release? Got a bunch of saints on this screen. You feel comfortable being friendly toward, or at least having an internal environment of friendliness toward all beings. No. You have some attachment, Pamela?
I just try to discern for myself right now because there are many people where I have some strong negative, if you
Mm-hmm.
if you want to call it negative feelings. But I try to discern where is it just anger against this person,
Mm-hmm.
or where does it start to shift to animosity because it's not the same. So,
Anger is an emotion.
mhm.
Animosity is when that emotion of anger is targeted.
Yes, and I try to just on an intellectual level, or just to, yeah, try to discern this when I see the people, or try to imagine these people. Yeah,
Yeah.
not so.
Yeah. I would say, and this is sort of a blanket statement that I would want to sit with a bit more, but in general, if there is an object that you are targeting the anger at, it has probably already matured into animosity. If it's just anger that is washing up and through your body and is released after about 90 seconds, that's anger. And it can be informative and it's just a feeling, neither positive nor negative, neither inherently helpful nor harmful, just is what it is. It's a force of nature. But if there is a specific individual or entity or organization that when you think of it, that feeling comes up consistently, reliably, it's probably animosity.
I'm clinging to a lot of, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of animosity.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's honest. And I am too. Yeah. Yeah. Who do you think it's hurting most?
Myself.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of the time when we're doing this type of work, we resist it because we feel like we're letting someone off the hook. So they're allowed to just behave badly and I can't be mad about it. No. They're not allowed to just behave badly and not be met with justice. But you don't have to poison yourself in the process. And the animosity is basically, it's a contaminant, it's a poison that you are the only one ingesting. Does that make sense? And I'm not speaking just to you, I'm speaking to all of us, myself included. Even when I look through social media, I mean, social media is designed to trigger us. It's designed to either spike us with anger or fear or delight, you know, puppies versus violence, acts of unconscionable cruelty. We're getting exposed to one right after the other. For 30 seconds, it's puppies, and then 30 seconds, it's someone taking a beating. It is doing a number on our psyche. It's designed to. Yeah. Who is profiting? Who is benefiting? Not you. For example. Yeah. So, do you have any resistance? And this is not just directed at Pamela, but to all of us. Do we have resistance to the idea of generating an internal environment of friendliness, even in the face of that which would normally trigger animosity?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. Do you experience any resistance to the work required to develop an internal environment of friendliness when you are faced with a person or a situation that would normally trigger animosity? Yeah. Yeah. I think that's normal. Pamela, go ahead.
You know, I want to always question all these things we're talking about.
As you
Uh,
should. As you should.
for me, I feel like this kind of, because I have very strong, I think many of us has problems with boundaries and setting boundaries towards people who are hurting ourselves. And for me, I made the experience that feeling anger, even if it's only 90 seconds, but only also like this kind of animosity, I'm honest, was beneficial for me.
Mhm.
It was beneficial for me to set these boundaries towards people who are hurting me for years, or when I was a child, or in relationship, or whatever, in my personal environment. So I don't see it only as bad or as, as poison, because it was kind of healing for me
Mhm.
to set new boundaries, or even boundaries, not new boundaries. And yeah,
Is it still helpful to have animosity?
no, but it was.
But it was absolutely. That's why it will continue to replenish itself in our mind every day, because it is directly linked to our survival. It's directly linked to our survival, and it serves its purpose. I was just listening to a lecture yesterday from Panditji about the Durga Saptashati, which is another name for a story, one of the myths from the Devi Mahatmyam. And it's this Chamunda Shakti, with the, Chamunda cuts off the heads of the demons of Chanda and Munda. And it is protective, fiercely protective. And there is that Chamunda Shakti that arises within us and that's very helpful. But when we become attached to it, and once it's done its job, we want to let it go, because it will start to distort us if we cling to it. That's when it starts to become a poison and a contaminant. The same thing, when applied properly, can be a medicine, but when taken in excess or taken for too long, it becomes a poison. Like a lot of drugs that you take after surgery, It serves its purpose for a time, but if you keep taking it, or if you take more than what is prescribed, then you become addicted and it can ruin your life. Yeah. So once the boundaries are set and enforced, you don't have to be in that experience of animosity anymore. You can still and should still uphold the boundary. But within the walls of that boundary, you don't have to still be on guard and angry. You can have an internal environment of friendliness. Now, this again, yesterday's conversation, I know you weren't here for it, so it might be worth going back and listening to because we talked about the nuance. These four contaminants are like a tangled web. They all intersect, and we will often feel animosity, cruelty, jealousy, and judgment or self righteousness toward the same person in many different ways. For example, if someone has actually caused harm and proven themselves to be non virtuous, then it's not only animosity, it's also tinged with a little bit of self righteousness and judgment. And again, I'm not saying that this is inherently negative. It's when it's allowed to linger that it can become harmful. When someone has done something wrong, then we condemn them. And sometimes we should. But if we continue to hold on,
What's condemn? What's condemn? What
condemn means basically saying you have done wrong. You have been condemned as a wrongdoer. And we feel that way toward anyone that we would assign the label sinner. And anyone who is harming children could be labeled sinner, non virtuous. So there's also that element of judgment that creates a sense of separation. So it's not just animosity. Animosity is a little bit more about someone taking what you want or someone having what you value. And that's why it's better to work with the word animosity than anger, because anger isn't just an emotion, it's a physical reaction. It's not targeted or attached to a specific motivation. We can feel anger over any number of things. But animosity is very specific. And it's rooted to our scarcity construct, where we believe there is a sense of scarcity if there's something that we lack, and we see someone outside of ourselves that has what we want, that seems to have and maybe take advantage or take for granted something that we value, like freedom, peace, stability, anything like that. They become the target of our animosity. So you might feel anger toward someone who has hurt you. That's going to be a whole mix of things, not just animosity. So we have to get really specific about the actual contaminant more than the individual that it's being inspired by. Because one individual is probably inspiring a lot of different layers of reactivity. So it's not just, you can't just address the animosity with someone like that that's hurt you in such a profound way. There's going to be a lot of unraveling. Does that make sense? There is nothing black and white or simple about this work. It's very complicated and convoluted, which is one of the reasons why we come back to it over and over and over and over again.
I'm so happy we're coming back because remember that it was my that's my favorite that was my favorite part in the teacher training. And I feel so, I know I shouldn't, and I'm so happy we're talking about that because I feel so much shame around these contaminants because since we introduced them or worked with them in the teacher training, I feel, whoa, I really, I have a lot of these contaminants inside of me, all of them, all four.
Yeah.
Um,
Called being human.
when I try to talk with, someone else about them, just, yeah, it's like everyone's like, no, no, not me. I'm like, okay, what's wrong with me?
Uh, what's wrong with you is that you have more self-awareness because you're practicing yoga. And I would say that that's not wrong. It's very, very right. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people won't meditate because they don't want to have to face what's there. These contaminants are alive and well and heavily influential in every single human being, and they are renewed every day. They are renewed every day. So you may reach a point where, I think I'm healed. Tomorrow, you're going to have to start again. And it will be less complicated because we will ultimately wind up addressing the trigger points that have been present for a really long time. And once those have been addressed, then the new ones that come in, we already have the skill set in place. We already know what is required and we can address it instantaneously. It's kind of like the process of a physical detox. If you used to, subside on an entirely like McDonald's heavily sugared coffee and soda diet, it'll take a while to purify your physical system to where now you're eating, fresh fruits and vegetables and whole grains and all of that. If you were to reintroduce a low quality ice cream sundae, you could address the influence of that pretty quickly in a day or so. Whereas the first round of purification is probably going to take a few years. Does that make sense? So we'll continue to do this work, which is a big part of why contemplation is abhyasa and vairagya are meant to be engaged with daily, both in balance. And vairagya is the contemplative aspect of our yoga journey, which is this stuff. What's present in my mind? What am I clinging to? Go ahead, Pamela.
But how do you, not only in your personal environment, you talked about social media, we talked a lot about the global injustice. So how can you not feel like these contaminants towards injustice, towards people who are doing so much harm
Mm-hmm.
to people who are weak, people who are,
Mm-hmm.
how do you do that?
Yeah. I think for me, what's very helpful is to keep my eye on the end goal. Is the end goal to just be upset about it? Or is the end goal to align myself with positive and purposeful action that could actually correct it, that could make the world a better place? Am I content with just being angry and pissed off and horrified and grieving? Is that enough? Because if that's enough, I will give my power away to it all day, every day. For me, that's not enough. I want to be a part of the solution. And in order to be a part of the solution, I have to keep my mind clear and my heart pure in order to fulfill the purpose I was born to fulfill in this lifetime. So I choose as much as possible to conserve my power to invest it in a way that will help and not just add to the problem. So emotions are there to inform us of, whoa, my conscience is telling me that what has happened here is not okay. I'm going to feel this feeling. I'm going to let it inform me. I'm going to let it come up fully. I'm going to sit with it. I'm not going to look away. And then I'm going to let it go. And I'm going to step back and I'm going to apply the antidote to whatever might be arising so that I can clear my mind, purify my heart, and then have access to my discernment. What do I do? What can I do? I might not be able to do something to keep bombs from dropping. But what can I do? Maybe I can address the psyche that creates such a sense of separation between us and them that there is a justification for dropping bombs. Maybe that's what I can do. Maybe I can share Sutra 133 as far and wide as possible to get people to look at themselves so that they don't feel justified inflicting cruelty. Maybe that's part of what I can do. So these contaminants rob us of our discernment and they steal our power. All of that, think how exhausted we are when we spend the day angry and fearful. It's exhausting. And we have very little energy left to do something positive and purposeful. It's a big part of why we are being saturated with all of this information to keep us powerless. We're much more powerful when we're full and when we're clear-minded and when we have a strong sense of how we can align our actions with our ideals. It's a much harder path to walk because you have to hold suffering and joy simultaneously, fully present to the suffering, but refusing to allow it to steal your joy. Why is joy important? What else are we bothering for? Why are we bothering? Why would we bother to resist suffering and the infliction of suffering on others if joy isn't there? If joy is not an option or a possibility? Joy has been one of the most powerful forms of resistance for oppressed people around the world forever. Like Black American culture is one of the most joyful cultures in the world today. They are resolute about retaining their joy. And I think we can learn a lot from that. They're also one of the most, they've got one of the most sustainable approaches to resistance and to activism because it's a long game. And so it has to be sustainable. I'm doing a lot of talking. Somebody else say some things. Or not. That's okay too. Yeah. Go ahead, Steph.
I understand all of that intellectually, but practically speaking in the day-to-day life, it's just really hard.
Yeah. I will not ever claim that it's easy. So you have to decide if it's worth it.
Mhm.
And then, like Pamela was talking about, establish the boundaries. Because there are people who are using social media, for example, to manipulate you and to hurt you and to keep you backed into a corner like an injured animal. So maybe you say, you get that chamunda shakti and you say, fuck you. I will not allow you to back me into a corner. I am not an injured animal. I am a powerful individual. And I refuse to let you take my power away. So I'm establishing boundaries. I'm choosing how I engage. Go ahead.
Earlier, I was just thinking that sometimes holding on to this animosity or jealousy or any of those really just reinforces a sense of helplessness, a sense of being the victim also. And that is just that, giving our power away, giving other people so much power over how we feel, which again reinforces this helplessness or victim identity.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, who benefits, who profits by us identifying as victim and powerless?
Well, both. The external world does, the
Mm-hmm.
people who have an agenda to manipulate us in any way, shape, or form, but also that shadow part inside ourselves that is getting something out of being the victim. What do I get if I'm helpless? Do I get sympathy? Do I get support? Do I get to just, whine and complain even?
Mm-hmm. And not have to try so hard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because as you said, this work is not easy.
Hmm.
It's a lot easier to say, the world is a fucked up place. It's been really mean to me. And so I'm just going to lick my wounds for the rest of my life. That's the easy option.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I understand why people do it. But for whatever reason, you people keep showing up every day. You people keep meditating. You keep contemplating. You are demonstrating that you don't actually want to take the easy route. You are demonstrating, and I mean you people, the faces I'm looking at right now. You've chosen something else. You've chosen to walk the path that will lead to freedom and fulfillment. And that is not easy. So you have to
Maybe
remind yourself it's worth it. Go ahead, Steph.
maybe a good reminder, at least for myself and probably for Pamela as well, is that we don't have to get it right like on the first try or on one day and then, have it figured out forever,
Yeah,
but that it's okay to go baby steps.
100%. And it's okay to take 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 3 steps back sometimes, and you will. This again is not designed to be a quick fix. If we're a quick fix, if it feels like a quick fix, it's most likely spiritual bypassing. It's just putting a band-aid on a cancer. And that's not at all what I'm recommending. What I'm recommending is the really nuanced, multi-layered internal dissection of this stuff, really seeking to understand where it comes from and the influence that it and the impact it's having on you. And there will be some reflections that you're not really excited about. Yeah. Oh, I have animosity toward that person because they seem to be more confident expressing themselves shamelessly. We use, they're shameless as a criticism. But we all desire to be shameless. We all desire a life that is free of shame and to be able to just be ourselves fully. So, for example, we might see someone who is behaving shamelessly, and we're feeling animosity toward them because we want what they have. We may not want to express it in that way, but we want to be able to be ourselves fully and live unapologetically in the world. There is a part of us that wants that. That's freedom. It's a part of it. So this is where the invitation comes in to think about what might be triggering this specific reaction in me. And then that gives you insight. Okay, wow, thanks for that reflection. I've just realized I would like to express myself with less shame. I'd like to hide less. Now, what can I do to make that part of my reality going forward? Instead of wasting my energy having animosity towards someone else who has the audacity to live shamelessly. How can I name what it is that I want, that I feel I'm lacking, and step into it? Does that make sense? And so then that actually helps me because suddenly, wow, I really do have an internal environment of friendliness toward that person because they've just shared something valuable with me. The way that they're living their life has allowed me to see something that I want, that I didn't even know that I wanted consciously. And now that I know that I want it, I can go about getting it. I do have an internal environment of friendliness now. Thank you. And because I have now tended to my inner wound, you no longer trigger it. So cool. You do you. We might be attached to our animosity because we're also attached to our scarcity, attached to our story that there isn't enough to go around, or that for some reason, it's just not meant for me. Happiness is for other people, not for me. And so I'm going to be resentful of people who are happy. Or whatever. So it might be our attachment to our stories of scarcity that are empowering our attachment to our animosity. Maybe something to consider. Now, any questions about the techniques or methodology that we're using? How to do it or why we're bothering? Go ahead, Pamela.
I just felt very distracted to spell the names of the chakras because I feel like I can't step into the stream of prana in Samakarana like we used to. And, the thinking mind is just, I reinforce the thinking mind to take part of it instead of get it, yeah, just the soul, the thoughts. Um, yeah, that's what I feel right now. It's like, okay, do I let them go and just pause and be aware of them without spelling it? Or yeah, my mind is very active because of the this task or this, yeah, spelling.
What it's going to give us is a greater level of subtlety. it's going to guide us more specifically to the chakras. Whereas right now we're getting close, but it's not a high degree of specificity. It's going to feel clunky for a little while, just like Samikarna probably did when you first learned it, where you were, okay, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. I'm supposed to do all this in one breath. And then eventually it smooths out and becomes even. The same will happen with the chakras, and you won't have to internally articulate them. It'll just flash in your mind. Same way as when you're working with a mantra. When you're first doing mantra japa with Mahamrityunjaya, the thinking mind is very active. But flash forward a year, 2 years, 10 years, and it just goes, because you've done the work, you've built the foundation. So we're going back and we're building another layer of foundation. Working with the chakras does require a high degree of specificity. And each syllable of the name of each chakra is a mantra in and of itself. And it causes the chakra to light up in a very specific way that will draw our awareness and draw prana exactly where we want it to go, so that it becomes specific instead of sort of ambiguous. And we want specificity for this practice. So it's going to be clunky. We've got 28 days. We can't start working with the elements in the chakras until we have access to the chakras. We can't start purifying something when we're just walking around its outer perimeter. Does that make sense? We have to gain access. Have you ever tried to clean your house without going inside? It's challenging. You would need a really long broom. So we're trying to get inside, something that we maybe have been sort of dancing around. And this is one of the ways we can do that. I'm trying to ease you into it. If we go directly into the full technique, it's just frustrating. You won't even be able to do it because there's just too many things going on. So I'm trying to slowly add in a layer, give it some time to land so that you can engage with it more effortlessly. And then we'll add in the next layer, give it some time to land. Yeah. So patience and effortless effort. Yeah. Growth sometimes means that we have to sacrifice the current experience in order for something that will be even better. Does that sound okay? All righty. Anything else coming up? Okay. Cool. I will let you go then. I love you all. And hopefully I'll see many of you, some of you, tonight at the Sutra Satsanga, hosted by Claire. I'll be there just to like throw popcorn at her and tease her the whole time. That's how I'm supportive. That's how I'll show my support. No, I'm excited just to be with everybody again. Hopefully you like popcorn, Claire. All right. Be well. Enjoy your day. Keep on keeping on with that, self-awareness stuff. And I'll see you soon.